Good morning. This is Playing to Win with Mark Henderson Leary and my good friend Brad Freyer. It has been so long since I got to do that and give you that energy. How are you, man?
Well, there was never a doubt that you were going to bring the energy today, but you stepped it up with that final little roar.
I don't know exactly what that was.
I am Mark, hear me roar.
And I didn't know how it was going to sound. It sounded like distortion. It sounded like a metal concert. Well, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm well. You had a late night last night?
I did have a late night. Yeah.
I couldn't tell. You look like fresh as a daisy.
You know, we had the winter ball for the high school drill team, and we were asked to assist in the event, and it was an amazing time. I had a blast watching the kids have so much fun, but it was a lot of damn work. The venue did not do anything other than be a venue, so we had to haul in all the decorations, all the flatware, silverware, drinks, food, and then haul it all out at the end of the event, including the trash. We had to take the trash with us. So it was 1 a.m. kind of thing, and I am sore and tired. But, man, those kids, they had an amazing DJ who we've actually known for years. But he had those kids dancing for about a solid 3 hours. I mean, he knew exactly what song to play and when to play it to keep those kids just going.
That is the thing about a DJ. That's the skill, and because I know a guy I went to high school with was not that kind of DJ, the other kind of DJ, like puts records out and tours and was known. Yeah. And what I learned about that art is it is an instrument that you interact with your audience. You see where they are, you set them up, you tee them up, and then you smash them with a beat, and then you bring it down, and you really manage the whole energy of the hundreds of people. If you plug into it, it's amazing skill that somebody can do that.
Very impressive. Yeah. I mean, this guy's name is Damon Pamplina, and his dad was the DJ, and he's the DJ. He was actually on Mickey Mouse Kids Club.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but he said the song, he only plays any one song for about 45 seconds. Because after that, you lose their attention. Mm-hmm. So he'll be playing a song with me, and then, then it'll start phasing into another song, and then that's another song that the kids freaking love. So they're like, "Wow!" It was nonstop they danced for 3 hours. It was, and there were some kids that were just like just bebopping all over the place, and then you got the one kid that's sitting off to the side all by himself the whole night. We're like, what's he doing, man?
Was his name Mark?
It was not.
It was not. Okay. Well, it could have been.
Could have been.
Well, I gotta call something out, man.
What's that?
It could have been because you didn't bother to ask his name, did you?
Yeah, I didn't. No. God.
Let that guy sit there.
Not my kid. Not my problem. No.
Loser.
Just kidding.
Nice, Brad. Brad.
One of the guys that was there, he has a move that he calls the post up. And it is basically when he goes to a party or an event, he finds a good central location and he just posts up. He doesn't move the entire evening, and people come through him and come to him. And so we were talking about the kid sitting over there, and he's like, I don't think he understands the concept of post up. he's a little off the beaten path for the post up move.
Don't make it too inaccessible. Not too remote.
Exactly. You have a notepad. You look like you have some. Oh,
this is my grocery list.
Oh, okay.
So I got brown sugar. Apparently we're out of flour. Apparently I got the wrong kind last time. No, I'm trying to get some notes here to hopefully be salient in my conversation. But I wanted to point out that we started the morning, and it was clear that you had been up late. And then you told the story about how amazing it was, and your face totally lit up. You had all the energy of last night. It was a cool experience to see how fun it must have been for everybody. And managing energy is a real thing. That you can manage energy through your thoughts. Is that true?
I think so. Yeah, I think it is what you make it. At some point, you can have depleted energy, and you just can't. You have to crash. But I mean, up until that point of absolute exhaustion, I think you have complete control of your energy.
Well, so I guess complete control of energy, and there's complete control of framing. And so that's a perfect segue, right? So if you know where I'm going with this, you may or may not. When we have experiences, we can remember them as bad, damaging, or oftentimes we can remember them as learning and the end of an era that ushers in a new era. The end of a relationship starts a new one. Whatever we have now today is only a gift from the past that we were able to take forward. And if we just roll back the time to like the hardest day, we could easily frame it as something bad. And this is our last episode of the year, and I think I wouldn't say obligatory, but this is definitely the time of the year to reflect. And and I don't even know this is random, but I feel good in my year. I do. I don't know how you feel, but I feel like I had a phenomenal year on so many levels. And still, I was driving in and I saw a car wreck that had happened, and I saw 2 cars completely smashed, and one of them literally flipped over upside down and facing the other way. And I just when that happens now, I used to sort of like not know how to feel when I would see something like that. I would see like, because I would geek out a little bit, wanting to see sort of like the physical stuff, and then I would snap. Oh my gosh, somebody could really be hurt here. Mm-hmm. And so I always sort of do the same place now. I just kind of get quiet inside, and I just sort of think that hopefully these people are okay and that everything is good for them. And so it left me with a feeling of it always can be worse, and that I would love to take just sailing through the intersection with that's amazing. That's an amazing thing to do. A lot of the sessions I have done, the annual sessions over the last month or so, people had struggled to say why their years felt so good. And what I sort of figured out is that in a pandemic decline, you get back to the juxtaposition, yeah, and they're like, well, what was the best thing of 2021? Well, it was kind of normal. We kind of got back to it didn't suck. And I'm seeing people get really emotional over this, and so I really had to call out that a couple things that, not the least of which is, it can always be worse, and we should be grateful. But a lot of people are now. A lot of people are, and I think are struggling to find the words for it. To say like, I'm really happy and grateful that we got the family together for a meal. Yeah, and because that was not obvious, and the things that we had taken for granted for most of our lives, some of us all of our lives, were if not entirely taken away, certainly stretched, questioned, challenged. Obstacles were put in front of them, and so I'm hoping that people are able to memorialize how good it feels to have some basic needs back. Yeah. Even because I know people who made tons of money but still couldn't see their family. Yeah.
Well, and certainly I think priorities have changed, goals have changed. What's important. I think for a lot of people that's been redefined or
for sure
reframed at least. And certainly lifestyles have changed a lot, right? I mean, from the rat race of driving an hour each way in rush hour to and from work to rolling out in your pajamas and
just like you today.
Just like me today. I
assume you're wearing some sort of pants, right? You are.
I am.
Okay.
I am. Yep.
Are they flannel?
They are not. They're cotton gym shorts.
Look at you, ready to go work out.
Barefooted, but cotton gym shorts. And it feels delightful.
You have a fan underneath the desk. Yeah, but you're right. A lot of people have changed their standards. The Great Resignation and everybody sort of finding their best changed. I don't know if it's best. I think a lot of people have decided to take risks. We're going to do something different. We're going to the West Coast and not moving out of our seat. And we're getting a new job, and we're going to work for a California company for a change.
Well, nobody moved to the West Coast. Everybody moved from the West Coast.
Well, actually, if they're actually physically moving, that is true. Everybody moved to Austin or something like that, it seemed like. But in terms of getting jobs, I've seen people go all directions on that. Yeah. And it's interesting to see, because all my company, all of them are struggling to find the right people, and so they have to double down on that. But everybody's willing to take a risk and upgrade in some way.
Well, and I want to say something like 60%. I heard it recently. Something like 60% of job postings have some form of virtual option.
Yeah.
Yeah. And certainly, I think that, that is a big part of it. And I want to say something like 60% of job postings have some form of virtual option. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and something like 60% of job postings have some form of virtual option. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's an insane amount from someone being completely virtual to being part-time virtual. That's going to be interesting to see is how that affects company cultures and collaboration and just success in the long term. That's one thing I'm really anxious to see. I mean, I still have mixed opinions on it. I think there's a lot that happens in person that you cannot replace being virtual.
Well, I think it's like the phone. I think people get used to email, and if you have to pick up the phone, you have kind of a tool in your tool belt that other people don't have because they don't think to do it. So in person is a little different though as it comes out of my mouth, because I agree. The work I do is way better in person for me. I think it's way better. I can do it virtually, and eventually it takes a toll on me. People I know who do what I do, some of them prefer it virtually. And I think it's a personal style. I think that's because I've in my Colby profile, my instincts tell me that I'm more comfortable with things I can touch. And that's everything. Like that's the quality matters to me. The quality of the microphone, the stand, the room, that's really material to me. So when we go onto the computer, I lose that sense. And that's just for me. It's a style thing. But then there's different types of businesses where, like, if you're going to have a virtual meeting that on average lasts a half an hour, that's a different thing than if you're going to typically spend a day with somebody. And so I think a lot of businesses are able to challenge what they were doing and put in new ways of doing it. But that doesn't mean that it's a binary switch and that your industry is fine with that. And if your job involves walking a job site, that is not a virtual thing for most people. And if it's long distance, But
see, I think even more of it to me is about the soft stuff. I think people can do jobs remote. Certainly that's been proven. It's all the all the soft stuff that happens. The culture building, the relationships, the rapport, the getting to know people, the building trust, the things that happen in the hallway.
So they did a study. I think it was a Harvard study, and a decade or more ago. And what they discovered was that what they called far-flung teams actually outperformed in-person teams. And the comparison. But I'm going to.
But go ahead, keep going.
The comparison had to do with what happens with the dysfunction you allow in a team that is based too much on the personal. I like Joey. He hasn't done shit in a year, but I like him. But in a far-flung team, and you got collaborative tools, and you got projects all designated and sort of separated out, then you can kind of see like, hey, Joey actually hasn't done shit. We need to get rid of Joey, and so the performance becomes much more objective. And so I think
that's not what I'm talking about.
So flipping this around, what I'm seeing and there are people who have been able to really be productive through the pandemic.
Productivity, I think, is without question up.
Okay,
right?
okay, interesting.
Because you don't have the hallway conversations. You're not killing time. You get in, you knock out what little bit of work you're going to get done that day, and people have gone from working 8 hours a day to having 3 productive hours a day because that's all their job really requires, right? But it's not the productivity that I think is the problem. It's the culture. It's the relationships. It's
that's where I was going with that. Is I see the really high productive teams starting to fray. Yeah. And they can't justify. They're like, well, we got to get back in the office. Well, we can't. This is our protocol and all that. Like, well, but it's not good over here. Mm-hmm. Look, I don't know if people are happy or not. I haven't seen so and so and whenever. And so I think there are cultures that are kind of more built for it. Like the tech cultures tend to do it a little bit more easily. But I have seen virtual professional cultures where it almost just makes it worse because it's all about productivity, and they don't.
I certainly think a lot of it has to do with the job functionality, right? Mm-hmm. If you're a programmer or someone who's writing code, you don't need to be around people.
You feel better off when you don't have to be around people.
Exactly.
And if when you do, it can be on a computer, so much the better for people who didn't want to talk to the person in the first place.
And you can do it at 3 a.m. if you want, because that's when you have the most clarity or the most whatever. I think some job functions are very conducive to remote work. Yeah. But I think leadership roles, I think roles that require collaboration, team job functions, I think it's going to be interesting to see the long-term effect and how many people require people back into the office.
I guess to tie it down, and on that same topic, I have a client who's a relatively good-sized software company, and they're declaring we're a work in the office company. We have some work remote situations we enable, but we are basically, we got lots of square feet here. We got lots of amenities, and you're going to use it. and
you're going to like it.
And you're going to like it. And if you don't, no problem. But somewhere else is a better fit for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that will be an opportunity. All the way to say, I think that will be an opportunity for some people to say, hey, we're not. I mean, and I think that's actually, as I said that I think there will be companies who say, yeah, sure, some virtual. We're not zero virtual, but we are in person.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the hybrid for those businesses who realize that they can't just go with what the tyranny of the masses of like, hey, everybody wants to work from home, so I guess we'll do that. I don't think that's.
Yeah, I think hybrid is going to be the model moving forward for just about everybody, except for those that are just absolutely required to be in a building. But at the same time, it's you have to choose wisely, because that's going to make finding talent and recruiting talent difficult if you're not listening to what the people in your world and what the types of candidates that you're looking for want.
Yeah. Well, so obviously the dynamic of work from home and all that has changed everything. But looking back on 2021, which is not 2022. I mean, I mean to call that out. Like 2020, sorry, 2020, what I meant to say. 2021 and 2020, not the same year.
Correct.
But it kind of blurs for me a little bit.
Very much.
But very different. Very, very different. 2020 was a pile of uncertainty, and 2021 was I had to hang on the back of the wagon because lots was changing, lots was moving, and things were breaking loose, and it was new rules, but it was go.
2020 for me almost felt, at least March through maybe summer, felt more chill. Right, because that was when we first got forced to home. For us, the business was doing fine. We were deemed, critical or whatever, and so we kept running. But that was just it was kind of nice to be home, and I created some new habits, and around the family all the time. And it was kind of chill. 2021 feels like we had a foot in both, right? A foot in the, hey, you need to stay away from everybody. Hey, but you also need to get working and and be productive. And 21 seemed a little bit more like we're trying to figure it out.
See, I have, my experience was different. Yours is very common sounding. I say.
Thanks. I'm told I'm common all the time.
Let me rephrase that. It was not uncommon for people to say that they enjoyed being home. I was freaked out and trying to pretend I wasn't, and trying to convince myself I wasn't. I wasn't just trying to pretend for everybody.
Freaked out by COVID, or freaked out by being home, or freaked out what specifically?
All the uncertainty. I mean, my whole world was 100% affectable. Like, I did not have any recurring income. So I needed people to actually want to engage with me, and they did, but I didn't have like a guarantee or a contract. So every moment that came to me was like, is there good in it? Is there bad in it? Okay, fine. Is there good in this moment? And for a whole year of of is this going in the right direction? And I really couldn't, and I knew it was sitting on me, and I felt isolated, and I was working like crazy. I wasn't like taking time off, because I was trying to add value, and I was trying to help people, and there's some people I couldn't help, and some people I could, and so there was an infinite amount of energy I could put into trying to be useful and put myself in my best psychological position, and I did. I gave all of it to do that. Whether it was a good investment or not, I don't know that, but that's what I did. But then when we got into this, the spring of 2021, right? Kind of. Well, it was really February, actually. That was really winter, I guess. And suddenly,
the big freeze.
Yeah, oh my gosh,
that's when I got COVID.
Oh, that's right. Nicely done.
I'll never forget that. Yeah.
Wow, that was when things started to really move, and there was enough tangible activity And then I was still trying to struggle with the idea of there might be anything, but clearly there's a lot. And a lot of people, and I brought this a lot to my clients because they would come to me with, we're freaking out. What are you freaking out? We have too much business, and it's killing me. And what? So what I realized is the problem of abundance, and there's two types of problems that really. In the polarity of things, the crisis of scarcity, which is the common problem of the crops did not come in, the drought, we don't have it, the economy is in a recession. These are the things that actually they suck, but humans are pretty well wired to deal with them. Mm-hmm. That's what we've dealt with our entire existence as human beings. A crisis of abundance. Too much of something. We got too many good opportunities, too many people, too much food, too much money, too many clients wanting to work with us. Well, we're not wired for this at all. This is not a historically relevant problem for people to deal with, which I think is probably why royalty in history have gone crazy, and that's why governments go crazy, because they don't know how to deal with abundance that's too much for them. We're not wired for it at all. So we got two problems coming out of the pandemic. We were just told by the world that we are in the middle of a crisis of scarcity, and then we've been put a giant crisis of abundance on top of us. And so the key to solving a crisis of abundance is figuring out how to say no. You got to say no to something. You got to slow something down. You got to, no, not at that price. No, not quite yet. No, not that, but something else instead, which is very, very difficult stuff to do period, to be able to say no thoughtfully so you can say yes accurately and also thoughtfully. But it is 10 times harder if you were just getting programmed that you should say yes to everything, because you're almost out of everything. And so it made it nonetheless, certainly very much for me. I don't know what I was going to say, but what it meant was, like, certainly for me and many of my clients, this quick shift of like play defense to like, hey, no, we got to slow down the offense, was a very, very difficult switch to make and figure out how to say no and slow things down. And it was really, really hard for me to get through that, because I found myself, I was actually 10 times more stressed when I had abundance. When I had more things going well, I even got more stressed. And then Here we are, December of 2021, and I can't believe how amazing things are. I'm so grateful for all the things that have happened, and the people in my life and the clients in my life. And things like this live stream that everybody calls a podcast. If I have a podcast, this is not it. This is a live stream, but that's not a problem, because I appreciate your comment. Like, I love your podcast. Great. Which episode? Oh, the one with Brad, like the one you do every week with Brad. Thank you. And people love it. And so, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for the things we've learned and all that feedback. And I just can't believe how many amazing things have happened over the last 2 years.
And that's the thing that continues to just jar my brain, is that it's been almost 2 years. Yeah, I'll see somebody, hey, it's been a long time since it's been over a year. No, it was 3, Mark. 2 years, just poof. Yeah, 20 just didn't really exist. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that's not just me, because I've heard a lot of people say that. But yeah, 20 I don't remember 20 being actually happening. And so it's
I remember starting. I remember almost going to the rodeo. I had tickets to go to the rodeo that day. The one that they canceled. We were going. And we were going. And it's like, no, you're not. They're sending them home right now. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that. What a dramatic reaction that they've taken, and no idea what was about to come.
Yeah, we were flying back from spring break, and we got to the airport, and the only people in the airport were us and about 6 or 7 college athletic programs that were in New Mexico for a track meet. Then the track meet got canceled, so all these kids were in the airport trying to get flights back to their home states. And so it was, but there was like, I don't know, 300 people in the airport. I mean, it was empty. It was bizarre, and everybody talking about what's going on. What is this? What's this COVID thing? So.
Yeah. It's amazing. And I fast forward to my first hotel trips. I was like, $33. Awesome. Anywhere in town. I was like, you know what? That hotel sucked. I'm going to upgrade. I'm going to double. I'm going to get the $45 hotel. I swear I would add $20 and I'd be like, wow, look at this. It's like the Ritz. It's incredible. And then I turned around, and I think once that bubble burst, it was like $300, same hotel. Not cool.
If you
now I can't fly anywhere.
If you haven't flown lately, I have flown. I've probably flown. I probably flew 20 to 30 legs this year, and every flight has been at least 95% full.
Yeah, for sure.
I have not had an empty seat next to me this year.
Well, yeah, I don't think I have either. But you know how they're doing that.
Well, they got like 60% of the normal flight.
Yeah, which means if you try to get somewhere between Christmas and New Year's, which is that was my first real backlash challenge. You know, I'm going to take a vacation. We're definitely going to go skiing. Let's just see what the flights look like. $1,000 a person. What else you got? This is not.
We're driving.
Well, I couldn't even make that work.
You know what? I'll just rent a car. $250 a day. No.
Yeah. No, I did that. I did that one actually in the summer. I could not believe what we were paying for the rental.
Well, yeah, I've been traveling a lot, and I Uber because rental cars are just so crazy right now.
Yeah.
I mean, $100 a day for a compact. I mean, that's more than 2x what it historically is, and so yeah.
Well, we're almost at our time, and I don't know if we really said anything. So thinking about
this was a catch up for you and I. You and I hadn't seen each other. So anybody that joined in today to listen, we apologize for being content thin. But
I will take that. I mean, I definitely want to double down on that. I mean, I'm grateful for you, grateful for this time.
I am too. Thank you.
I'm really looking forward to doing more in this vein in 2022, whatever that next one's coming up. Pardon me. So let's look from. I think that's probably a good way to. I'm grateful for 2021, every drop of it, truly, and I'm still joking.
Let me help you out there. 2020 and 2021 were such interesting experiences, right? So different than anything we've experienced before, but so many people found ways to succeed, to thrive, and to find the good. And I think you and I certainly doing this every week was a lot of fun, a lot of opportunity just to connect and be introspective and to share. And certainly going into 22 is going to be a new opportunity to see how to embrace the new, and to continue to find ways to thrive regardless of circumstances. Because I think if nothing else, the pandemic and what we've been through in the last 2 years has proven that there are opportunities to thrive even in the face of tremendous adversity.
I wish I had thought of this a little bit. I love that. And the thought I want to try to leave on is I recently read a book called, thanks to my friend Mike Coates, recommended this book called The Surrender Experiment. And it is an out there woo-woo book about a guy who basically wants to be yoga meditation is his thing, but he's actually pretty smart, and he ends up getting all these degrees, and he kind of gets invited to do things he doesn't want to do, but he's so good at them that he ends up running $1 billion company in the end. And it's an amazing story of him just really, he tells it in one way. The way I summarize it is that he's able to sort of silence his inner voice, his frustrations and his fears, just to observe what the world is asking him to do. Because the world is pretty good about inviting you to do things it needs and things that you can do. And I certainly have had moments of panic and frustration where I'm trying to control too much. And so what I've looking back on 21 in particular, when I've answered the call, when I've been able to observe what the world is telling me I'm to be doing in that moment. And I don't mean even in a crazy spiritual way. I mean like where you are, if the waiter is trying to take your order, the world wants to know what you want to eat. And so if somebody's asking for help, if you're on the freeway, if you're the exit's coming up is exit 7, and you're thinking, I really wish I were getting off in California. Like, well, that's not on the table right now. Like, just you're getting off here. And in life, we kind of do that. I'm not getting what I want out of life. I would like to get off the freeway in California. So, well, you're not on the freeway near California. You're in the freeway in Texas right now. And so what I found is that when I am able to observe what life is asking of me, and it can ask for important stuff, that I can answer that call, and I can take my emotions out of it And so my hope is that going into ending this year, realize that you hopefully have answered the call of life. You've learned what you needed to learn, and you can reframe that as the gift that it is. And you actually have a choice to dismiss it as all bad, and that is a choice. But if you look at your life and think of it as the perfect outcome that the universe was uniquely configured to produce for you, because there was no other way it was going to unfold, because it's just how it was set up. That person was going to be rude to you because they didn't know a way to be less rude. That's all they knew. And that's what you get out of the year. And if you go into 2022 looking for what life and universe, your clients, your friends can look to you as somebody to contribute to and what they're asking from you, you can have amazing things happen. And I hope you find the very best in your life and in the future.
Well said.
Thank you for a wonderful 2021, Brad.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Let's sprint through the finish line, and we'll see everybody on the flip side.
See you then. Thanks, Brad.